Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. There's nobody on there. It was kind of short notice. I'm going to put a post out here on Facebook, or not Facebook, the gram. Let's see if I can flip that around. Hello, whoever you are. Nah, we better retake that. That's a terrible picture. Don't be shy. Say hello. Oh, a couple more. Hello to y'all, whoever out there. That picture's terrible for Instagram. Let's try another one. What's cracking? Hey, Mr. Luther. I figured today would be a better day to do this. Because it's middle afternoon. Most people aren't working. So, what's going on? As you can see, it is a bright, sunny, somewhat warm January day down here in Florida. Steven, I hear California is getting nailed with some storms, or was some storms with some heavy rain and everything. Apparently, that big old storm's supposed to go all the way across the U.S. But visit. There we go. Put something out there on the gram. Just above you in Georgia. Hey, that's about where I bought the my Scarlet. Well, let's see. I got up this morning and I thought that I was getting sick. I was like full on silent sinus drainage, but I think I made it call just a little bit of a cold. But other than that, doing freaking great today. Just really, really good. Really good. Been playing Maytag Repairman, getting my dryer fixed. It decided to take a crap, so luckily I got that back up and going. Saved me from spending $800 on a dryer. I've got some videos coming out. They're recorded. I just haven't got them edited yet. There, you might get. Yeah, see me without glasses. My hair's a mess, guys. I've been outside working. Like I said, it's been really nice. Yeah, you ain't lying. Days of buying $300 or $400 dryers and washers are gone. Oh, I envy you, Don, for doing that. I mean, it's not too big a deal. You just have to wire in your speed sensors, but it's not too bad. Yeah, those True Cool coolers are fantastic. And I'm going to tell you, if you're running a stall converter on a 700, especially in an F body, 700 or 4L60, whichever way you want to look at it, them dudes will heat up. Racing a Mustang yesterday when the exhaust fell off, RPM stopped working. Now it stays stuck on 7,500 RPM. Man, you were holding it to the wood. It's possible that it may have melted the tack wire. Going to the distributor. I'm assuming you still got a distributor on yours. A fried egg sandwich. Man, you can't beat a fried egg sandwich. That's what my wife had this morning. You could smell it. I was lazy this morning. I didn't have to go to work, so I didn't have to get out of bed at the crack of a moon's butt. So 220, maybe. Down in Mexico, I'm assuming. But yeah, I'd say probably the tack wire broke. It's on the negative side of the distributor. It's usually, I think, a white or a green wire. I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't know if I can tell you here. I may have this wiring schematic right here in front of me. Look at this stuff. See if I can tell you. I think that's just for the ECM stuff. Do. Okay, that's for the moduli. White wires, electronic spark timing. Pretty sure it's a white wire that goes to the distributor. This is not going to tell me because this is all. The pink wire is usually your hot wire to your coil, and it's a thicker gauge. Deer Slayer, man, I tell you, a remote transmission filter is not a bad idea, especially if you get a converter that fails, a lockup converter anyway that fails. It could prevent it from plugging up the tranny and causing some major damage. At work, the 6L80s, I do a lot of 6L80s at work. And most of the time what happens is the converter fails on those because they're a poor design and they're not built heavy enough for the load that they have to deal with. So usually the converter fails, and the first places it goes after the converter is through the cooler. So if you get one that's bad enough, it plugs up the cooler and it'll overheat the transmission because it can't cool it off. We've seen that many a times. So a filter for one of those in the cooler line would probably save the transmission in the long run. But if they put a billet converter in it, you probably wouldn't have a trouble with it. But you know how that goes with factory stuff. I mean, you got to put what in there is factory if they're going to warn it. So just me, I do not have the wiring diagram in front of me for that. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold the phone. What did I do with that? That was sitting over here. Oh, damn. I don't know what I did with that. I've actually got a wiring diagram. That's good for just about any of the years. Don, mineral spirits is all right. I personally, I like to use, um, if you're doing it, at the house and all you got is, I like to use the brake wash. That stuff works pretty good, and just force it through the line. Blow it out the best you can, then force it through with brake wash, and then if you can, flush it with some actual fluid. Triple disc, yeah, they are pricey. There's a, I don't know if you all have heard of FTI converters, but they're right here out of Florida, and they seem to be really good converters. Of course, anytime you get into a performance converter, you're going to run into some money. What is something you did that had a huge positive impact on your life? Man, that's a good question. To me, I'd say gotten married. The wife won't believe that, but yeah, I got married. I mean, it slowed me down a lot because before we were married, I was pretty reckless. I didn't get married till I was 30, so the yeah. Before that, I did a lot of stupid stuff. There's a lot of things that I did in my younger years that I'm, without the good Lord's help, I probably wouldn't be here today. That's for sure. Like, I got my first motorcycle when I was 24, and I rode that with no insurance, no license, everywhere, and did some really stupid stuff on it. Like I said, I'm surprised I'm still here. One of my best friends is a big old 6'5" Italian, and I used to ride with him all the time. And my God, we did some stupid stuff. But he at least had a license. But anyway, Jake's performance in Texas. Yeah. Harley Davidson? No. My first bike was a Yamaha FZR 600, super nimble bike and quick for, of course, I wasn't as big as I am now. I mean, obviously I was a lot younger when I actually had metabolism, but yeah, it was plenty fast for me. And of course, when you're young, you're full all that in a bag of chips, and you think you're invincible. But no, I still ride. I just slowed it down quite a bit. I ride a 2012 Yamaha Roadliner, and it's a great bike. Hey, Boss Hog Converters. If you guys don't know who L to the W is, he's a fellow YouTuber that has a third gen. He also has a 50th anniversary and an SS and a GTO. But anyway, we got together, and I'm actually building his transmission for him now. He's got a 700 in his third gen that he put a whole bunch of bald eagles to it, and 3-4 clutches said, nope, not today. And they let go. Working on video on that, actually a couple of teardown videos. And for both he and whoever else wants to share it or see it, but he actually bought a Boss Hog converter in it. It was like a 2600 stall, and he says it picked up off the line real good. But again, the only problem that you have with the only problem you have with a stall converter is it does build up heat, so you got to have a cooler to help cool that dude off. But yeah, his is going to be a neat build. I'm doing all my tricks that I know, and it'll have some Sonex goodies in it, and I'm actually going to use. If any of you guys ever been into a transmission, I'm going to be using Ray Besta's blue clutches. Blue clutches are really good clutches. And but I'm anxious to get going on that. I did look at that 4L79 drum. That's pretty impressive, but for what he's got, it's way overkill. I mean, he's not gonna need anything like that. Now, if he was putting a blower to it, that I thought that he was gonna kill for torque, then that would be a consideration. But for his application, it's actually overkill. This one will be good for what he's using it for. Yeah, I'm going to probably use choline steels in it too. Well, it's personal preference. I've used the blue clutches before and had really good luck with them. Borg Warners are mostly factory GM stuff. Like if you were to get a rebuild kit for a 6L80 at the shop, they're going to give you Borg Warners. That's what GM uses. But nothing special on there. Of course, you can't do any mods or anything to that. You got to use all factory stuff. But another thing on the 6L80s is you can get the Z packs for the 6L80s too. They've got some pretty good upgrades for those. Biggest thing on them is putting a decent converter in it. But I haven't posted a whole lot on Scarlet, and I probably need to explain why. I bought the car, but I haven't I don't know if how much of a difficulty I'm going to have getting the title for it. So until I have the title and that car in my name, I don't want to do any major repairs on it and end up hosing myself, if you know what I mean. What's the best cam to put in an LB9? 305. TPIS makes a great cam for smaller displacement. You just don't want to go overkill on a 305 because they won't flow. I had a this same Italian friend that I grew up. He had he put a carburetor on his just for the year because it was an accident and it was an 82 anyway, and it was carbureted to begin with. He put a Comp Cams Magnum 280 or something like that. Huge cam for a 5-liter. And that thing slobbered all over itself. He had no insulation in the car, very little carpet, and had a Borg Warner, the 7 3/4 rear end, and that thing howled something fierce, but it was so funny. That car would rip, but he ended up finally having to take it apart, and you could see where all the valves kissed the pistons. It was pretty funny. Yeah, it was. But yeah, I've got some things that I've got to take care of before I try to get the title work done. Some personal financial stuff. We'll just leave it at that. And I'm trying to do what I can to make it in this world just like everybody else. Nope. Somebody's chiming in. Mine's E9 TPI with 5-speed. Thanks. Oh, yeah. That's, it seems like everybody else has a real easy time finding. Somebody just sent me a video on the Buick LeSabre that jumps the hill and drags the bumper. That's correct. Big lift is not good for a small block Chevy, not all the time, especially on a stock head. The biggest problem those old motors had were cylinder heads more than anything. That tune port can flow, but the cylinder heads were kind of restrictive. And the exhaust. I mean, two things that you could help, obviously is cylinder head and the right cam and some good exhaust. Let the thing breathe. That'll wake them up more than anything. I did a 268 comp cam in my 82 Trans Am I had, and it ran pretty good for what it was. I mean, 268 was actually a little bit too big for a 5-liter too, but I should have done the comp cams 260, just the one step below it. It would have been fine. But that's a big problem. A lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll overcam the engine, and then they'll wonder why it doesn't run that good. Yeah, I'd agree with that. 268 max on a small block with cast iron. Yeah, for sure. They just don't flow that good. And again, it all depends on what you're doing. And, if you're doing fuel injection or carburetor, because, carburetors are a little more forgiving if you overcam it, but fuel injection systems are not. Brian, I actually had an 87 GMC pickup, just a half ton, that had a roller with, it was, I think it was one of the extreme energy cams, but it was decammed quite a bit, and it had a little bit of an aftermarket converter. I think it was like 2200 stall, but man, that thing was perfect for that truck, but it was a 350. That ran pretty good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, they like the choppy idle, but I mean, just like, even the guys with these LSs do the same thing. I mean, it's real easy to overcam an LS and you'll lose all your bottom end. Yeah, you may gain your upper end power, but you're going to lose your low end torque. And for a street car, if you're going to drive it mostly on the street, you're going to want something that has some low end grunt, they don't put those huge cams in from the factory either. I mean, and they still make tons of power. But, and a lot of the guys, when they first came out with these LSs in 99, and they were comparing them 99 new body style to 99 old. The 99 old body style with the old 350 Vortec, had gobs more torque than the new one. And that's all because of port velocity and size, because the size on most of your LS heads are upwards around 200 cc intakes. And the old Vortec heads were like 180. So the velocity going into the cylinder was a lot higher. So it created more torque down low. And they run different, but the LS would just, once it gets wound up, it'll pull pretty quick. Yeah, I'd agree, Brian. You can actually overstall one too, where it's not real effective either way. It's kind of a fine line, because the idea is to keep, the stall, you want it to end up, just below where the power band really starts to kick in hard and go. That's why my choice for what I'm going to do with Scarlett's going to be kind of critical, depending on what I use for heads. And I've got an idea of what I want, just whether or not I can afford it. You get some of the big ticket items, and that stuff adds up pretty quick. Like, I don't know if you guys have known about American Racing headers. They actually make a header setup for a third gen that, to me, looks top notch, and it's a 1 3/4 instead of the 1 5/8. Because my idea is I definitely want to do a stroker in mine. Now, whether or not I do a small stroker or a big stroker is, kind of dependent. I wish I would have had the money for a couple of deals that were out there I passed up, but that's how it goes. But yeah, I'm way behind on getting videos done. I can tell you that. I think I've got probably 20 or 25 gig worth of video to go through right now. Yeah, they do make a great product. They're proud of them, but they're good. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to do 427. I want to do that big on a small block, of course, because then you got to make sure everything's to a gnat's butt, because the way the old small blocks are. Because I want to keep it the old small block, just for aesthetic purposes. But I got some neat ideas you guys are going to have to stay tuned for. So, but again, all that stuff costs money, and right now I ain't got a lot of it. So, just like everybody else. Plus, I may do a power adder. That's kind of floating around in my head too. But anyway, got another training I got to go through too. I got a 480 I built for a kid, and he blew it up. So I got to figure out what's wrong with it. And go from there. He goes, yeah, I was just driving it one day and got to work, shut it off, and got it started up, and it didn't go anywhere. Brian, I'm not ready to do a 5.3 swap yet. Not on this one. And if I did a swap, I might make a 388 LS 388, just because of to get really good power and reliability and stuff like that. The smaller rotating assembly seems to work a little better. Yeah, the dart blocks are high dollar. High dollar. But they've been doing it for so long, and they've got so many race status, they can do that stuff. They cast their own blocks and the whole 9 yards. I just know a stock block is good for about 650. 650 horse. You push it much further than that, you're asking for trouble. But anywho, sure like to know what I did with that wiring diagram. What if I stuck that thing in the other room? I don't even know if Just Me is still on here or not. Yeah, World Products makes a good block also. Yeah, but I've watched so many different guys struggle with fitment issues, clearance issues, having to modify a whole bunch of stuff to get everything to work just right. I mean, yeah, the payoff's pretty sweet. I've seen, what's the name of that one? There's a guy out there that's got a ZL1 setup, blower and everything in there, and of course LSX Mac has got one, and he's in the process of doing another one on his Trans Am that he's got. I mean, I don't know. I like the nostalgic look of the tune port. I'm old school. Plus, Scarlett, I want to be just a driver. I want something I can daily and not have to worry about it. I want it to be super reliable. I could build it either way. It's just that there's less modification in doing an old small block. Oh yeah, I mean, I've got no doubt, Brian, that I can do it. I mean, I'm cool, huh? What country do I live? Well, United States. I mean, yeah, Brian, I could do it. I got no problem doing it. It's just, like I said, I'm kind of nostalgic, and I like the old cars from the way they were, but it doesn't mean that you can't make what originally came in it a little better. I mean, I'm not looking for an all-out 1,000 horsepower balls to the wall ride. To me, you can't use that on the street, really. And if you do, you're just asking to get yourself in trouble. And the second thing also is this thing is ticket me red, so that's probably not a good idea. I mean, they'd see that thing a mile away, and it's like, oh, let's give this dude a ticket. I'm getting too old for that. I wouldn't know any different place to live, so. And I'm glad to hear it, dear Slayer. I like the small blocks myself. But at any rate, I'm going to try to get a video done tonight and maybe get something posted tomorrow. And for you guys to watch, I need to get some videos edited and out there to you. Yeah, it probably is, Brian, but not much I can do about it, and I'm not gonna run them off. I mean, there's not much free in this world anymore. A man of rock. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Steven. So how's everybody doing with your all's project? Where are you at with yours? Still plugging away at it, or? Hang on just a second, guys. I got to go get my dogs in. I'm going to see if I can find that book. I don't know what I did with that book, but I must have taken it out to the shop or something, because for the life of me, I don't know where it went. But it is what it is. Sweet. Brian, you doing what trans are you building, Brian? You building a 700 or 4L60E or what? I've got all my parts for Scarlett's 4L60, but I was just going to do a mild build on it, but I think I'm going to put the blue clutches in it too. Yeah, that's what I'm building for Scarlett. I've got an early model 4L60E. It's a 94. So it's the old one-piece case. Pro Forma built stage 3 4L60E, huh? I don't know much about them. I'll look them up real quick. Maybe it's Performa built. That comes up. They kind of look like the same. Yeah, they look like monster transmission almost. Level 3. What are they putting at level 3? Sports up to 900 horse, huh? Wow, $3,200. Holy shnikes. Whoa. Thank God I'm a transmission builder. That's way steep for me. Yeah, I've heard monsters are junk too. Although I did have a guy I used to work with had one he bought for his Nova that he had, and it was a 700 R4, and that thing ran solid. But that was, oh man, when did I work for them? That would have been around 2005 or 6. So yeah, that was like 15 years ago. They could have gone downhill since then. Hey. Anyway, build input and output 4L79 Sonic clutch hub and modified valve body and separator plate. Well, you're building it right. Yeah, I mean, looking at what they put in that stage 3 is pretty close to what I'm doing with mine. But I'm not doing everything like that. Hey, sorry about the dogs, guys. Wife just rolled up from work, so they're going to be all sorts of excited when she comes in. But anyway. Yeah, Brian, I mean, if you can build it, I mean, that's what you need to do. I'm kind of on a budget, so I mean, we'll go with what we got for now. But anyway, guys, I'm going to call it here for today so I can get busy on these videos. It's been about 45 minutes, so I appreciate you all stopping in and saying hey, and make sure to like the video for me if you would. And we'll see you on the next one. I'll try to do one on a Saturday like I did this one because it seems to work better. So you all have a good day, and we'll see you later.